Kia ora team, and welcome back to Big Boys Boxing. So I've finally calmed down. I've been reading some articles and I've been laughing my ass off. Dominic Breazeale, for me, has tattooed the word idiot on his own forehead with some of these comments that he's made. He said that he's interested in fighting Dillian Whyte as his comeback fight. Now, this is a fight that had been ordered by the WBC when Dominic Breazeale was the mandatory, and I thought at the time it was a good idea to legitimize the mandatory position, because Dominic Breazeale was supposed to be in a final eliminator against Bermane Stiverne, but Bermane Stiverne got the call up for his fight. He had already obtained the mandatory position, so Dominic Breazeale got a fight against Eric Molina, and it was contractually obliged by the WBC to make it a final eliminator for him, because he had a contract for a final eliminator but he missed out. So he got to fight Eric Molina for the mandatory position with the WBC. However, it wasn't a final eliminator for Eric Molina. So that's why I say the mandatory position at that stage had no validity. But a fight between the number one contender at the time being Dillian Whyte and Dominic Breazeale would have legitimized that position, whoever had have won. And at that time I did like that fight because it meant something, right? The fight now means nothing, and I find it rather ignorant of Dominic Breazeale to assume that Whyte would want to fight him when he has nothing. He's not even in the top 15 rankings anymore after being flattened by Deontay Wilder in the first round. So it made me laugh, but what made me really laugh is some of the quotes in this article from Dominic Breazeale. So let's get into some of his quotes. His first one is, he thinks it's a precious style fight, he told Sky Sports. He's going to bring it for a bit, and then I'm going to bring it for a bit in the end. The fans are going to be happy with what they get out of a fight between myself and Dillian Whyte. So that's the first part of the quote. Now, like I said, I don't understand why Dominic Breazeale thinks fans want to see this fight. Why? It means nothing. Why would Dillian Whyte be interested? It means nothing. Is it a huge money fight? Hell to the no. Is it an extremely competitive fight? Not in my opinion. The only upside I can see is Dominic Breazeale is 6'7". Good preparation for a title fight against one of the belt holders, being Anthony Joshua, who's 6'6", and Tyson Fury, who's 6'9". So we'll move on to the next quote from Dominic Breazeale. He's speaking about Dillian Whyte here. He says, he's a knockout artist. He loves to throw leather with bad intentions, and I like to do the same. I think I have the upper hand on him as far as strength and athletic ability. Of course, with size, in the end, I think I will come away with a knockout win. Now, athleticism to me is somebody who is naturally athletic, right? There are two fighters in the heavyweight division that stick out as real athletes to me. Gerald Washington is one of them. Joseph Parker is another one. And there are some other athletes coming through as well. Alexander Usyk is a bona fide athlete as well, but he's only had one minor fight at heavyweight so far. Dominic Breazeale is not athletically gifted. Not at all, in my opinion. Right? To me, he has the athleticism of a fucking brick. Maybe he's slightly a bit better than a brick, because he moves very slightly faster than a brick. But he doesn't look fluid. He doesn't look like he's extremely fit. He doesn't look naturally gifted. Now, I will also say, I don't think Dillian Whyte is overly athletic either. He looks uncoordinated at times. He has bad balance, but he is improving. But I do think he's a hell of a lot more athletically gifted than Dominic Breazeale. And back to the first part of the quote that I started with from Dominic Breazeale, his ability to be in the ring with some of the best in the division will be way too much for Dillian Whyte. How the fuck is getting gifted a mandatory position, getting knocked out in the first round in one fight, and not being at all competitive, getting beaten down and stopped in 7 rounds against the other top fighter that he's fought? How the fuck is that gonna help you? Dillian Whyte's been in there with Anthony Joshua and got stopped in 7 over 5 years ago, right? He was a different fighter then. It was only 4 years ago Dominic Breazeale was in there with Joshua and suffered pretty much the same fate. But since then, Dillian Whyte's fought a lot more competition and higher level competition than Dominic Breazeale. So for me, there's some proof that Dillian Whyte can kick it at elite level. There's no proof for me that Dominic Breazeale can kick it at elite level. I mean, what's his best win? Carlos Negron? Amir Mansour? Or the unbeaten at the time Izu Ugano? It's one of those three. But in both the Amir Mansour and the Izu Ugano fight, Breazeale was lucky to get out of those alive. He was lucky Mansour bit through his own tongue and couldn't breathe, was choking on blood, because he'd already knocked Dominic Breazeale on his ass and was looking like he was gonna keep doing it. Izu Ugano put him down twice and exhausted himself. First time on a big card in front of thousands of people. But Breazeale was lucky to get out of that fight alive. I must say that was one of the most entertaining fights I've seen in recent times. But for me, none of the fights, none of the wins that Dominic Breazeale has on his record prove squat. So all in all, I don't know why Breazeale was talking about this. He's coming off a loss for starters. He needs to get a couple of intermediate fights in before he can turn around and say, I want to fight someone who's the interim champion or the mandatory position. He's barking up a tree that nobody believes he deserves to be even near. The other thing is, Dillian Whyte, being the interim champion, can't fight anybody outside of the WBC's top 15 anyway.
You look like a bitch ass nigga when you talk like that, dude.
So what are you doing, Dominic Breazeale? You just trying to drum up some publicity? Or are you trying to make yourself look like a fucking idiot? Because if it's the latter, you've absolutely succeeded, mate. Absolutely succeeded. Fight a Adam Kalnaki. Fight a Charles Martin. Fight a Jermaine Franklin even. Or Damani Rock. Trey Lippy Morrison. Andy Ruiz Jr. Any of those guys is a stepping stone towards somebody like Dillian White. You just got knocked the fuck out. You don't get to skip steps. When you lose, you got to earn your respect back. You got to earn the opportunities back. So let's see if Dillian White says, yeah, I'll fight you. Give me $5 million. Just like you did when the shoe was on the other foot. I love when this shit comes back to bite fighters, you know. That's what Dominic Breazeale was saying. Give me $5 million and I'll let you fight for the mandatory position. Shoes on the other foot now. You know, Lucas Brown used to do it before he was champion and getting close to getting a title shot. He was telling people like Joseph Parker, piss off, go and do the work. Well, guess what, Dominic? You need to do some fucking work, you lazy fat cunt. Hey, you sit there saying, I want this fight, as if people would be interested for no fucking reason. Idiot. Alright, let us know your thoughts. Get some conversation going. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you have. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you in the next one. This is Big Boys Boxing. And I'm out. See you.